everybody. Hey, so there's been some confusion on some things. I wanted to hopefully do a video that might help us understand a little bit about the switch on the bottom of the car. So this is a polarity switch. All it does is change the direction of the car to go either clockwise or counterclockwise around the track. So in the case of this car and my track, and like most tracks, unless you have your controller put the other direction, this car will go clockwise around my track. And it's digital. I'll change lanes. All right, so that's a digital car going clockwise on my track. However, if I take this car off and I take this polarity switch it the other direction, oops, sorry. Now if I put the car on the track, you'll notice nothing happens to the car. Doesn't go forward, doesn't go backwards, nothing. But if I put the car on the track this way, and all of a sudden my lights are on, and the car will drive the opposite direction around my track, which is counterclockwise. So that's because I switched the polarity with the polarity switch. So now I'm going to take this car into the analog track and I'll show you how it changes to analog. It's not through with that switch. So if we come back to this other track, which I have set up just for this purpose, on the track is an analog car. It also has the switch. Can't possibly be a digital to analog switch. It's just a switch for the polarity of the car. If I put this car on the track, the car's going to go clockwise. With an analog car, if you stick it on the track backwards, it'll try to go the same direction around the track, but it will go backwards. Right? So if I change this switch on the car, put it on the track facing the other direction. So let's say I went to somebody's Skeletrix track and it goes the other way. Now I can race my analog car on that Skeletrix track going the wrong way. All right? Now, if I want to change my digital Carrera car to analog and I put it on the track right now, because that switch is in the direction of clockwise, and because the rails on this track, the polarity is different. On a digital track, this would be the positive rail, this would be the negative rail, but on an analog track, the inside rail, that is the positive rail, and that's the negative rail. So if I try to make this car digital, it won't do anything. If I then put it on the track the other direction, now I press this a few times. Notice my lights flashing? Now the car becomes analog. It's automatic. It doesn't have anything to do with the switch on the bottom. It's automatic. But now I want it, okay, I'm good for a Skeletrix track right now, but I want it to go the other way. Turn the car over, hit the switch. Now the car will go this direction. So now this car is analog. And if I'm done racing on an analog track, I come back to my house and now I want to race on my digital track. All I do, I'm not going to change the switch yet because I'm going to show you something. If I put it on the track, it won't do anything. That's because the track polarity of the other track is switched. So in order for this car to do anything, I have to put it on the wrong way for the moment. Now when I do this, you're going to notice that the wheels spin and the lights come on and it's going to jump forward. So now it just switched back to digital, but going the wrong way on my track. Switch to polarity switch. Put it back on the track in the right direction. And now it goes the right way. Of course, we have the lights turned off because I waited too long. So back to the digital track, put it on the track, counterclockwise, hit the controller a couple times, and it should go. Well, sometimes it takes a little longer than others. There you go. Now it's analog. And when I place it on the track, it'll go the opposite direction of my track. And now it's digital. So I hope that clears it up. The switch on the bottom is literally only a polarity switch. Okay, so now let's talk about cars that don't have headlights, but this still has a polarity switch. So this is a digital car. It has the polarity switch. It's set up to go around my digital track. It's in digital mode, obviously, because it's on my digital track. All right, so thing is, if I had been visiting a friend's house and I had switched over my polarity switch, and I had this car, I took it off my shelf, around my box, and I put it on my track, nothing happens. But one of the first things I would do would be to think that maybe I had the polarity wrong, so I would switch it around, and if I do, it should go right around the track. It's going the wrong way around the track. So I'll switch that polarity switch. But it doesn't have lights to tell me which way it's supposed to go. It's just kind of a trial and error thing. But the same thing with this car. If I switch the polarity switch, or if I just take it to the analog track in the other room, right now I'd probably put it on here backwards because I would have to switch the switch. But if I throw it on here, hopefully this will work. You know, these are a little bit different controllers, but there. So now it just switched to digital. I mean, switched to analog. So now I'm driving on somebody's analog track, but I'm going the wrong way because maybe it's a scale X track and it goes the opposite direction. So, but now I take it over to somebody who has a Carrera Evolution track, and we're going to go clockwise. I changed that polarity switch, put it back on the track, already in analog mode. Now it, like the other analog cars, will go the other direction, right? So if I put, well, it's taking all the power. And that spoiler doesn't stay on. Anyway, you get the drift on that. But take it back to my track in here, my digital track. If I put it on the track the way I think it should go, it doesn't go. Ding, ding, ding. But if I put it on the track backwards, it's going to jump forward. And now it's back in digital mode all by itself, but it's going the wrong way. I don't want it to go that way. So now I have to change that polarity switch to change the polarity of the car so that it travels on the track the right direction. It does not change it from digital to analog. So that's cars without lights. Now, if you get into cars that use either the Slot Technics chip or the MPL chip, right? So the MPL chips are, this car, for instance, has an MPL 12-volt chip in it. If I put it on the track, it's digital. It has headlights, everything. It goes the direction it's supposed to go on my track. It changes lanes, all that, right? This car, I removed the polarity switch on it from when it was, because I figured I wouldn't need to do that. What I notice is, no matter removed or not, it doesn't matter about that switch. If I put it on the analog track, it doesn't do anything that way. So far, I have not gotten one of the MPL chips to turn digital. It lights the lights up, but it will not make the car go. I haven't had that. So I believe that the MPL chips don't have the capability to automatically switch to analog. What I did instead, this is an analog car with an MPL chip in it. You'll notice it still has a switch, but I marked that switch digital to analog for a reason. So on my track, it has to be set in digital because I actually rewired that switch so that it either goes in digital, it goes to the chip, and analog goes straight to the motor. So when I have it in digital mode, I have headlights, all that stuff works, and it goes on my digital track, right? Now when I wired it, the reason why I put it on there is because I thought, well, maybe one of these days I need to go to an analog track. So I wired this so that I don't have to change. The car will go in the direction of the rotation of a Carrera analog track. So it is an analog to digital switch. If I put it on here, now you'll notice there's no headlights, but the car will drive. So that was just a simple bypass the switch, or bypass the controller using the old analog switch, rewiring it so, or the old polarity switch, rewiring it so it became a different type of switch. So digital on my track. The other chips that don't switch is the Slot Technic. This is a SCD 2022, I think it is. SCD 2022. Anyway, yeah, 2022. The car is just fine digital, other than it handles like crap because it's a pull car. It also does not have a switch at all, so it's strictly digital. And I found that if I put it on the analog track, it does not seem to automatically change. And I can't, so I'm going to say that the Slot Technics chips don't either. Now, if I'm going to give me some information that tells me how to make it work, I don't see that they switch. So these cars are the aftermarket chip cars. Unless you modify the switch on the bottom, those modified cars don't go digital. Once they're don't go analog. Once they're digital, unless you modify the switch. All right, well, I hope that didn't get confusing. I hope this helps. I guess that's all I got.